They are in a 42-36. Winners of 2 in a row. 9 of 11. They keep winning series. They've beaten the Phillies. They've beaten the Yankees, also known as the 2 best teams in baseball, over the last week plus. And their playoff odds are, again, on Fangraphs, up to 37.5 and counting. So will this Red Sox team be a playoff team? Yes or no? You can vote at Jones and Mego on Twitter. You can dial us up at 617-779-7937. That's how you get in touch with Jones and Mego. You can watch on twitch.tv/Boston WEEI or follow along on our YouTube channel as well. Just subscribe to WEEI, and you can seek us out there. I got to refresh this on my phone because my computer just froze up on me here. At last check, 56% of Red Sox fans say no. 44% say yes. Healthy amount voting in that poll question already. But most of you say no, they will not be a playoff team, which disagrees with this show. I'd like to hear why. Again, it's 617-779-7937.
Don't believe.
I would also like to hear Mego's explanation on why making the playoffs is actually a bad thing. Why is that, Mego?
That's not what I said.
Well,
I said it's not necessarily a great thing.
Okay, well, that's if it's not necessarily a great thing, Arcand, what's another way of saying that?
Bad thing.
Okay, I mean,
you said that, not me.
We can parse out I'll tell you exactly what you said. I'm not
Is it
sure.
a good thing?
I'm not sure it's even a great thing for this club.
It's not great.
That sounds bad to me. That's not bad?
Because I want to enjoy the moment. I want to enjoy the season. And then I look long term and I think 2021 at the end was fun too. And then look what happened over the next 2 years. And I just feel hopeless about the direction of the franchise right now because I think if they're a wild card team and if they win somewhat in the postseason, ownership is going to crow about how successful their whole approach is while they've slashed $33 million from the payroll since 2022. And they're probably going to let Alex Cora walk in October. I know this is something we'll talk about, but if you listen to him with us weekly and you listen to him post-game, he sounds happy about this team. He does not sound happy about ownership. And so I just get aggravated thinking about the future of, okay, they'll make the playoffs and they'll be an above 500 team and they'll be in that wild card spot and it'll be fun for a couple weeks. And then I think we'll go back to status quo as it has been since 2021 while we wait for prospects to mature, to get to Worcester, and then get here.
But the crux of your argument,
years away from spending again.
The crux of your argument is you think if they finish in last, that might wake ownership up.
Maybe.
No,
like I'm thinking
it won't.
Maybe
They just
it'll
did it 2
throw
years
an
in a row.
elbow.
Okay, they just did it 2 years in a row. That won't. I don't think anything's going to wake them up. So you might as well make the playoffs in the meantime. Like I don't think ownership is ever going to really change their approach.
I think I'm more just like
so just make the playoffs.
I'm being a real Adam Jones over here,
You are.
where I'm anticipating how irritated I'm going to be when we hear about 2024 and the playoff run, whatever that may be, for the next 2 years as they continue to slash payroll.
Okay, the other thing we need to allow for is they might be right.
What do you mean?
They might be right with their prospect movement. They might be right. They've paid Bayo, who has not been great. They paid Rafaela, who's heating up. They're trying to pay Casas. We'll see if they do that. Like, their prospects are getting closer. Like, I don't like that approach. I would rather they spend on big stars. There is a chance they're just right, Mego. And, like, we can say, oh, no, ownership will keep with this approach. Maybe they're onto something. Like, are we totally ruling that out?
I don't like that they're acting like they are Tampa Bay or Baltimore.
No,
because
me
they
neither.
don't have to.
Okay, but I've blown past that. I don't
Right.
like that. But
I'm not going to sit here and go, well, maybe this like 7-year plan that they're on is the way that they should do business going forward.
Okay, it's not a 7-year plan if they're in the playoffs this year.
And then what? They're talking about how every year they're thinking about a World Series, and that's just a lie.
Okay.
They don't invest.
I don't know. I think I have a hard time figuring out, and trust me, I like trying to flip things around in a negative way, but I have a hard time figuring out how making the playoffs would be bad for this team because I don't think make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs, finish in last again. I don't think anything's getting John Henry's attention. Like, I don't think that. And so if my choice is make the playoffs and not get John Henry's attention or miss the playoffs and not get John Henry's attention, I'll make the playoffs.
That's sort of how I feel, and I don't think it's that wild of a take because I understand what Mego's saying, and I think that it's very plausible that this team says, hey, you know what? Team's fine how it is. We don't need to spend. We'll just keep on going the way we are and keep going with the prospects that we have and see what comes out in the wash. But I do think if they were ever going to invest, they'd be more likely to invest in a good team than a bad team. That's just how it seems to me. They'd be more likely to invest in a team that was already in the wild card spot than one that wasn't, or one that was in last place, or something along those lines, even if it's not to the extent that we want them to, like even a small thing like trading for Schwarber. Like I think that was a result of where they were in that season.
They won the World Series. They brought some guys back, but really they started to disinvest after that, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if they won. They've been a last place team 2 years in a row. They've missed the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years. The 1 year they backed in and got to an ALCS in the middle in 2021. That hasn't gotten there. That hasn't changed anything. So, like, to me, I don't think it changes whether you win or lose. You might as well get in there.
I guess my feeling is I don't like the sensibility that it will be a success, that this is working. Honestly, Jones, I don't like that they have you second guessing and going, maybe this prospect pipeline is the way that the Boston Red Sox should be doing business going forward.
I don't like it either, but like,
yeah, but they're turning you.
No, they're not turning me.
They are.
No, I've stopped fighting it, Mego.
You've turned into a busty pink hatter.
Mego, so that is true. But I've stopped fighting that they're going to change their mind. Like, you still believe John Henry's going to change his mind. I don't really believe it. And so,
because it's been a 4-year stretch of him not doing it, when previously it would go year to year, these crazy changes.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on it. If you want to continue holding your breath, go ahead. You're going to run out soon.
You're only holding your breath as long as since when they signed Trevor Story, and they also gave Rafael Devers a big contract. So it's not like they've never done it. It's not like they've completely.
Yeah, but Story wasn't paying. That was cheaping out on Bogarts.
Okay, fine,
that wasn't
but
paying.
they still gave him a big contract. Is the point? I mean, they could have not done anything. Like they could have not signed him and also let Bogarts go.
Trust me.
The point? And they're not doing. They're still spending in some very small specific instances.
Trust me. I want them to spend on big all-stars and star players and sign their own guys. Like, I want them to do all those things. You should be able to do all those things. I just got done saying 10 minutes ago the Dombrowski approach is the right one. I love that approach. But, all right, fine. This is what you want to do. Draft, develop, sign your young guys. They are on track to start doing it. They've signed 2 of their young guys. They're trying to sign Cassis, although it doesn't sign close.
I know. I want them to sign more outside guys.
Okay, me too.
Brilliant talent.
Okay, me too. I don't get how making the playoffs disrupts that. I know you feel that way. I don't, because I think they could win the World Series.
Yeah,
and they might not do that.
Because you're more hopeless than I am about the ownership group, and you also are getting brainwashed by them a little bit.
Okay, well,
you're looking at it going,
I don't see how those
I
don't see how those compute. I'm hopeless about the ownership group, but they're also brainwashing
you can hold
me.
2 things at the same time.
I don't see how those 2 align.
You're an onion of a man.
Meanwhile, let me hear more on Buster Olney. Mego reference Alex Cora and his future. Here's what Buster had to say about that.
Are you of the mind that this is going to be Alex Cora's last year?
I am.
You are?
Yeah, his contract is set to run out. Look, we saw this with Craig Counsell last year with the Milwaukee Brewers. He played out his contract. He essentially became a free agent. The Chicago Cubs swept in and signed him. I think Alex Cora, if he reaches free agency, he's going to have other opportunities.
Okay, I mean, we all think that. The question is, if they can go on a run, is this team more attractive to Alex Cora, keeping Alex Cora? I think, and I've had a change of heart on this, and this is from talking to Bradfo and people like this, I think they want him. I was skeptical of that. I think they want him. I think they're leaving it out to move on from him, or leaving it out by blaming Breslow, which is basically what Kennedy did last week on the Greg Hill show. I think they're leaving it out so that they don't look that bad. They can pin it on Breslow. It's not that Cora chose another organization over us. It's Breslow's fault. They can frame him. But I think it's all up to him. It's his choice. And would a playoff run be enough to keep him around? We'll see.